Hey guys, Joe here, and today we are taking a look at another SIG firearm. I've taken a look at a few of them recently on the channel. That's because they seem to be pretty popular all of a sudden. This one is no exception. Come along with me, as today we are taking a look at the Sig Sauer P320 M18, the newest version of the U.S. Army sidearm. If you like this kind of video, maybe consider getting subscribed. I do these as often as I can. I try to do other stuff during the week, but at least once a week, I like to do a firearm video. They're entertaining, edutainment, and you guys really seem to get a hoot out of seeing new firearms. So I'll continue doing it as long as you guys show interest. Today's firearm is a Sig Sauer, as I said, and as the giant box says. And this one is the newest version of the U.S. military's M17, however, this is called the M18. We're going to go ahead and take it out of the box. I'm going to take the price tag off of it. Just so you know, we're selling it for 600 bucks, which is a pretty good price. So this one is borrowed from Liberty Arms. Go ahead and just Google it down below. I'm not going to be putting a link in the video because if I do, it will get instantly demonetized, and that means less people will get to see the video. So go ahead and just Google it. It'll come up, Harrisonburg, Virginia, Liberty Arms, and check it out. This is a Sig Sauer P320 M18. This is the civilian sold version of what our U.S. military, and specifically on here U.S. Army, but U.S. military have adopted for the new version of the sidearm. Before we start looking at it, let's go ahead and do a safety check. You do that by bringing the slide all the way back, dropping your mag out, and visually and physically inspecting it. Nothing in there. Nothing in there, so we can go ahead and drop the slide. Let's take a look at the box real quick. In the box, you get a foam insert. It's a very nice case here. You do get some stickers and documentation. You do get four magazines typically. You normally would get two 17 rounders and two 21 rounders with the M18. I think they took them out of the box and put them in the case, so I only have one 17 rounder with us for the tabletop today. Hey guys, Future Joe here. While I'm editing this real quick, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, link is in the description, you will see that Sig Sauer inserted this card into the box because they're having manufacturing issues with their supplier of magazines. They are going to give you the magazines you were supposed to get with the gun, but you have to register it with Sig Sauer, so don't forget to check in your box, especially if you have a gun that came with only one magazine. It will say 1M on the box. They will supply you with your missing magazines. They will supply them to you free of charge, but you do have to register your firearm with Sig. Not a big deal, because if you want your warranty, you got to do it too. Okay, back to the video. It is a lockable case, but it is not a airline approved case, so keep that in mind. If you are going to be transporting it, you probably want to buy a different case. Let's go ahead and move the box out of the way and take a look at the firearm. Now, some of you are probably asking really quickly, hey, what's the difference between an M17 and an M18? Well, not a whole heck of a lot, but what there is in a difference is pretty important. This is basically a Glock 19X now. What Sig Sauer did was they put the compact slide on top of a full-size frame. As you can see, it's a full-size frame, grip frame, and the shorter slide. So it is about an inch shorter than the M17. Otherwise, they are pretty much the same firearm. Okay, thanks for watching. The U.S. Army was first to adopt the P320 as the M17, and other branches have adopted it now. From what I understand, like the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard even, have all decided to adopt the firearm. However, for some of the people, like Air Force pilots and stuff, they don't want a longer slide. They would prefer to have a shorter slide. This is not a U.S. military conceal pistol. It's a U.S. military sidearm, so it doesn't matter if it's got a full-size grip frame. By keeping a full-size grip frame, you maintain capacity, 17 rounds in this case. It is finished in the flat dark earth, or FDE, that they typically use on it, and these do have the RMR cutouts on them. We will take a look at that when we disassemble the pistol. On this one, you do have a standard 3-slot 1913 Picatinny rail, a flat front trigger guard with horizontal serrations, which I always approve of. I like to hold a gun like this when I'm two-handing it. putting a finger on the trigger guard. It's just a personal preference. That's why they still do that. Has a nice undercut below the trigger guard, so you can definitely get your hand up on it. The integrated beaver tail style kind of a thing, it's more of just a thing to prevent your hand from getting up high enough to get slide bite. Reversible mag release, so you can take it out and put it on this side. And the gun is ambidextrous. Being a civilian copy of the military firearm, it does have the external safety, which all U.S. sidearms are required to have, and it works just like a 1911. Up is safe, down is fire. It is a nice size, so I can put my thumb on it and ride it just like a 1911. I will say that I will probably have a problem with keeping the slide from locking back, because with my thumb and the way I hold, I'm literally resting right on the slide lock. It's not a big deal. Some people don't care if their slide locks back. I really don't. Especially when I'm at the range and I'm counting how many shots I take. And if I ever have a question, I will physically pull the slide back and lock it. Flat front on the rear sight, so you can manipulate it on your clothing. One-handed manipulation, which is nice to have. It does have the Sig Sauer night sights on it, which are really easy to pick up the front, and the back is night sight, but it's not like white or green, so it doesn't obscure or take your attention away from the front side. I don't know why I said obscure, pardon me. It is a striker fired pistol. It is also a single action only pistol. Single action only means that when the gun is charged, i.e. you put a loaded magazine in, you rack the slide and put a bullet into the chamber, you will have charged the striker handle, which means when you pull the trigger, it will drop the striker firing the bullet. If another round is not chambered, or it was the last one in the gun but the slide goes home and you try to pull the trigger again, it will do nothing. So unless it's charged, the gun will be safe. However, they still have the manual safety. Trigger pull on the gun. It's pretty good. Comes right to there, just not a whole ton of travel. You can see it just kind of, and then there's a wall, and then you just pull straight through. It feels spongy, but I have shot a bunch of these and they actually run pretty well. The reset is about out to where the wall is, and then you just go into the next shot. You can improve these triggers. You can run upgraded triggers, flat face triggers, all kinds of stuff is available, because anything that you can put on a P320 you can put onto these guns, because it is a 320. Real quickly, since I have some snap caps, or a snap cap here, is I'm going to show you that this gun does have a loaded chamber indicator. So as you can see, it does have a loaded chamber indicator. You can feel it with your finger. This is also removable if you don't want it. So if you don't want it on the firearm, you can remove it, although I don't understand why anybody would. Let's go ahead and take it apart. Let's go ahead and do a safety check again. Go ahead and make sure there's nothing in the firearm. Nope, we are good, we are clear, so we can go ahead and leave the slide back. Urgh. You're going to drop this tab. It's a little tight because it's a brand new gun. So it's in the vertical position. Once you do that, you just grab your slide and pull the top right off. You do not have to pull the trigger on a 320, which is very nice. That way you don't have to run the risk of you didn't pay attention and you might have had a round in it kind of a thing. Inside of it, you have a double nested recoil spring. You can just go ahead and pull that out. Small to big, lots of oil on this gun, so good for them. And then you have your barrel. You just slide it forward, pull it out the bottom. It is a Browning tilting action style. You can see the lockup down there. It is breech lockup, not lugs on top of the barrel like 1911s. Pretty nice barrel. It's got a nice little feed ramp on there, so it should feed hollow points pretty easily. Taking a look at the slide itself, very nicely finished. At first I didn't care for these cuts, the way it angles down, but the more I've seen the pistol, the more I like it. I like the forward canted serrations, makes it for real easy grabbing to manipulate the slide. Inside, it is finished very well. As you can see, there's no real machining marks in there other than from when it's been racked a few times. And then back here, it's very clean as well. Hi. This is how you remove this plate, so don't just go in there with the screwdriver trying to pop it off. It actually has the screws inside to give it a cleaner look, also probably to keep dust and dirt from building up in there. So you need to take out the screws from the back, and then you can take the plate off and mount the RMR or Romeo or Legion or whatever sight you're going to run on it. But that's how you get them out. Standard striker. Overall fit and finish is good. SIG expected, as I like to say. Taking a look at the frame, it is polymer, of course, stippled front and back strap, as well as the sides. These are non-adjustable. You can't put any extra pieces on there. However, these fit nicely. And additionally, the biggest party trick that Sig Sauers have is the fact that the fire control group can be removed from the firearm. This is technically your gun. This is the serialized portion of the firearm. This is the part that matters. Sig Sauer, as far as I know, is the only company that is producing a gun where you can remove the fire control group this easily. And to put it back in, you just go back in the opposite way. Literally, that's all you have to do. So if you don't like a full-size frame, or if you want to do different colors, you can buy the frames. They're usually anywhere from $35 to $55 for the frames. Not sure about in FDE, but in black, they're pretty inexpensive. And then you can just change out your fire control group. Just can't obscure that serial number. To reassemble it, you just go ahead and put your slide back in. Again, I do apologize, but I'm doing this on camera, so I can't always guarantee that I'm getting in the right spot. They put a lot of assembly lube on this gun, which is both good and annoying. Here is a tip for you: when you go to reassemble it, you have to make sure that that is vertical. If it's off a little bit, the slide will not go onto the frame correctly. I do like that it has metal slide rails or guide rails. They're not like big, but at least they're metal, and it's something that I tout for longevity and usefulness. However, Military Arms Channel, he had fired one so many times that he actually started melting the inside of the grip frame, or the frame. I don't know why I said grip frame, but the frame, and that was kind of interesting to see. Those four parts are your Field Strip P320. To reassemble it, it's exactly the opposite. You just put your barrel in, take your guide rod, big end towards the front. Really quickly, point something out here on the guide rod. You will see it has two flat sides and two round sides. Conventional wisdom would tell you that you want to put it flat side down. That is incorrect. When you put the guide rod back in, you want the flat sides vertical. You'll just put the guide rod back in until the guide rod is straight in the slide and the flat sides are vertical. This helps clear the inside of the firearm. So once you have that put back together, go ahead and take your frame and your slide. You're going to marry them back together. When you come back, you will see that sometimes it will stop here on this little nub. You need to push that down with your finger while bringing the gun back. Then also make sure this is lined up correctly to allow the slide to come all the way back. Rack it, lock it in the back position, and drop your takedown lever back into position. Once you do that, you can go ahead and cycle the gun. Make sure it works, and you're good to go. So, overall, what's my opinion on the Sig Sauer M18? Well, I've shot the compact. I will admit that I'm not as big a fan of the short barrel as I am the long barrel. That is a personal preference. I'm not sure how the short M18 will compare to the 320C or any of the other variants of it. I would be interested in taking one out and shooting it, putting a bunch of rounds through it, because I've had some both positive and negative experience with SIG 320s in the past. If you own one of these, let me know how they run. If it's running reliable for you, I would like to know that. If it's giving you problems, let me know that as well. Leave that down in the comments. Don't forget to check out my Amazon affiliate links. You'll help the channel grow, and then I can actually purchase some firearms again. That's about it. Thanks for checking it out. I'm going to get out of here. It's very late in the evening. It's the only time I can film, so I am done. I am going to bed, and as always, I'll talk to you later.